Greetings, friends. Rhadamant here, continuing my Sea Ice Community Challenge. So on last episode, I finished research. Period. Research is done. So I've since made Taffy a bedroom out of that research room. It still doubles as a hospital. Unfortunately, because of that, it counts as a barracks. I completed a sizable amount of the ship here, as you can see. I only really need the uranium left. I even do have the components for the remaining parts. I have pod launchers to get me to a neighboring ice sheet so that I can ground scan for uranium. That is the hope here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to initially send NG to get the build set up and then send Taffy to man the mining equipment but I might just keep NG there to man the mining equipment and bring it home. Now the trouble is, if NG goes out there, that does in fact mean that I'll have one less person to protect this part of my dear colony. So that I do worry about. I've made some good trades. I've traded for a lot of. I traded off a lot of my scyther blades, tumbo horns, things like that, for some gear. I did have some raids on last episode, but none that were particularly dangerous. I mean, they weren't easy, but certainly this kill box has seen improvements. Even just in episode 12, people were marveling that I had one kill box and yet I was making a spaceship. Well, now I have a kill box with three, no less than three plasteel turrets, so it is not as secure as it could be, but it is certainly getting better by the day. So one of the things I want to do is whoever I send, probably NG, to the ice sheet, I want them to have ample amounts of food and steel, wood, all the things they need to survive. Now fortunately, when you send people out on an ice sheet, the net worth of the new little settlement won't allow for really horrible things like giant mechanoid raids to happen. But that doesn't mean I want NG to be defenseless. She is my heroine in this playthrough, so I do want to be very careful with how I play her. So I think sending her with maybe a transport pod full of metal and and then her transport pod full of food and wood is probably enough. It doesn't sound like very much. Also, of course, I want to send her off with components as well. So there is a lot to be done before I truly think I'm good and ready for a trip out to the rim. But I do think it will happen in this episode. I'm really hankering to get out there and get some progress made on getting off this little rock. As much fun it has been, I think it is important that I keep pushing forward. So as you can see, I'm breaking down the slag. I've got a pretty fair amount of steel now. I don't want to jump the gun, but I think after maybe cooking up some additional meals, I'll actually truly be ready here. So once NG awakes tomorrow, I guess I'll turn this off for now. Once NG awakes tomorrow, I think I'll send her off. Now the ice sheet, and I guess I'll load the world now. The ice sheet out there, we'll have some compacted steel. We'll also have compacted machinery. May also have some rarer resources. I think what I'm going to do is just pick the closest spot so that it is easiest to run back if I have to, and if I can't get a transport pod built. Uranium is pretty heavy, so without beasts of burden, I'm not going to be able to bring very much of it back to the base, which means getting a transport pod out there will be pretty critical. But I do have a lot of chem fuel from trades left, so I have that going for me for sure. So instead of having her do some hauling, I will actually cook a whole lot of food. Just stockpile this base up with as much food as I can manage. Of course, Taffy pointlessly hauling it into place. That's fine. I suppose, given that I don't have infinite slag here, I'm going to fix this little slag zone. So I'm going to put slag here, here, and here instead. That should slow them down some more. And then I can even delete this zone here and drop another slag zone. People slow down when they're crossing the slag, but not when they're standing on top of it so much. So if you have layered slag like this, I believe it does more to slow them down than just a whole pile of it instead. As you can see, NG's already setting that up. I want NG to make more than just the 40 meals. It is possible that there'll be food out on this ice sheet, depending on how warm it is. If I look, let's see. That's still really, really, really cold. In fact, most of this ice sheet is actually colder than the terrain of my current area. But my current area does have permanent cold snap. So, although it appears to be colder, it might not be. It might actually be warmer. And what I could also do is maybe think about going halfway between some of my neighbors that I can trade with. So, settling somewhere out here instead. It's not the closest piece of ice sheet, but it can serve a greater strategic purpose, which might be more important in the long run. Now, another problem I'll have is when NG leaves, there won't be anyone left to do a lot of the repairs, efficient repairs, or component crafting and things like that. So I'm leaving this base a little, I wouldn't say undefended, but weaker. NG needs to be the one that goes out there. She has the crafting skill, and she has the rather not crafting skill, but construction skill. So she'll be able to construct my outpost the best without failure. She's also fairly inflappable, so she shouldn't have any breakdowns. Whereas the other two, especially Doc, wouldn't make it very long and would go crazy. And even Taffy, despite Prosophile with prosthetic parts, that Night Owl trait will make it tough to keep her happy all the time because I can't necessarily guarantee that she's asleep during the hours she wants to be asleep. Sometimes on long hauls or in combat, you're just required to be up. And given that, I can't say for certain that she'll be happy out there. So now that I have additional meals, I think it is time for NG to take that trip. Now, of course, she's not totally unconnected. She will always have the backup. Oh, we've got a siege. Alright, let's see what gear they have to see if they'll freeze. Of course, sieges bring a lot of good resources. All these guys have armored vests. Most don't. So the ones so far I've looked at, one has a shoddy sniper rifle and a normal sniper rifle, but no doomsday launcher, any I win buttons like that, which is good. So I am going to. Where'd my sniper rifles go? Where's my normal sniper rifle? I always lose track of my weapons, don't I? This is like comical in that it always happens. But I can just send the 2 out. I'll leave Doc behind. Oh no, Taffy has a good sniper rifle on. So actually, I'll have Taffy equip the shoddy one. Doc equip the normal one. Engie equip the good one. Engie can put on the power armor helmet. I do have awful armor vest here, which I think is slightly better than Engie's. And I'm going to get out there and try to prevent them from building too much. Now, I don't have any cover, but they're, at the moment, they don't seem to be building cover towards me anyway. I hit him, but I think I only hit the armored vest. Yes, I did. Brought it from... Oh. Engie, being the sharp shooter that she is, quickly has ended that possible threat of a sniper. They've failed the construction. Oh, she shot off his leg. Jeez, that's gory. They failed the construction, which means they burned resources, but it still gives me a chance to gain resources. Now, this is the next long-range one, and they're dead too. That was quick. They still have one more sniper, the shoddy one. But they're already fleeing. My sharpshooters here are quite skilled and have made quick work of these enemies here. Leaving behind some wounded. Wounded that, well, simply I don't aim to take care of. I don't believe I can get any shots off before they leave. What I can do is haul all this good stuff back to base. The extra components are nice, and I'm just going to switch sniper rifles. I'm going to disallow the human corpses. I know it's mean, but I don't care to bury them. I gotta lift the oh, I don't have a restriction. That means that this little stockpile is full, which it is. How much steel is Engie? Alright, Engie has a full load of steel. Doc will now be able to haul. All these meals are also very helpful, because I won't have a good cook here anymore when Engie leaves. But I'm going to set Engie up with the better armor vest. I don't want her wearing tattered things if I can help it. She, of course, is wearing a tattered parka, but I don't have a replacement that is not a dead man's, owned by a corpse, or worn by a corpse, rather. So that can't be helped. That part can't be helped. That battle was quick, decisive, and rather effortless. Everyone's headed back to sleep. And once NG arises, I will sort out the rest that I need her to do and send her out to the ice sheet. I don't think any of the traders are ever really going to trade me uranium. I did get a little bit in a supply drop, which was unbelievably fortunate, but I don't think I'm going to get that kind of lucky again. So the idea here is to set myself up for as much success as possible. Which means I really need to go mine some. Because it is a little dangerous to be sending NG off on her own with really truly no backup or anything like that. It's, that does come with its potential dangers. I could always pack up a convoy and leave the zone. But that isn't how I want to play this. I don't want to flee. Alright, so now she's very happy. I'm going to queue up 2 pods. So we'll load up NG. We'll load up 40 fine meals. We'll load up 20 components. I don't need any herbal medicine or anything like that. Let's see. We can load up maybe 120 wood. And then load up pretty much all the remaining steel that I have. Try to get things built. And this leaves me with 1 more pod left that is not getting launched. As securities, so I can transfer more chem fuel or something over there. Now I don't want to launch the chem fuel right off the bat because I might need it here, but this should also decrease the value of my colony a bit because I'm loading things up and sending it away, which is will have the added benefit of lessening the dangers of the raid. And here we go. So we are about 18 minutes in, and I'm launching. So as you can see, I can launch pretty far here, but I'm going to keep it paused and try to look. So I want something with hills or mountains. So we have mountainous area here. Now who are you? The Planetary Coalition and the Northwest, both of which they're allied with, or not hostile with. So I think this is the spot I'll go. But I might actually go a little closer to home. I might look at the other direction. Now the trouble here is I could just launch to this area here, and that would be the safest, I suppose, but it doesn't enable trade. But maybe that is what I'll do. So let's go back and launch group to here. Didn't take a lot of fuel because it's not very far, so the trips are going to be easy. And now I will settle out here on this little piece of ice sheet to try to get uranium. That is pretty much my only goal. If I get 250 uranium or so, maybe 197, I think, is the exact number off the top of my head. I will be free and clear to leave permanently. So looking at this area, I do have to consider things like setting a house up around a steam geyser. That certainly would help. Seeing if there's any prefabs, and here's a prefab next to a steam geyser. So that's probably where I'm going to go here. But micromanaging 2 colonies is obviously more complicated than just the one. So here's my plan. My plan is to use steel walls to... I'll have a door here, and to sort of grab this steam and bring it back to the base. Now this might be too hot, but that is something I can live with. But actually, I could also think about geothermal power here. So I'm not going to build that for sure yet. I mean, I will build it, but not initially. But then something like that. And putting my door towards where I can mine some stuff. So I'll put the door here. Alright, so switching between the colonies. I'm putting Doc back inside. Now Doc is going to get put on cook and grow duty, because my cook and grower has since left for greener pastures here. Another thing I'll do is create a stockpile here. And eventually I can split this off to be 2 separate rooms for aesthetics and other purposes. So looking a really cursory look, it is a much varied terrain. I don't know uranium is really popping out at me. Of course, if I could get uranium without having to set up a ground scanner and a deep mine drill, that would save me a considerable amount of work. I'll have to look more carefully, because, like I said, that would really truly save me a lot of work. And it looks like, oh, that's uranium. That's just a marble wall. There's certainly a lot of compacted machinery not close to where I want to settle, but closer. Now another problem with this area here is, because it doesn't have permanent cold snap, it is warmer, which sounds strange to be a problem, but that doesn't mean raiders won't perish from the cold. I'll have to probably fight them. So there's also the need for defenses pretty early on. I want you hauling more steel. Should have. So there's plasteel here. I've seen silver and machinery, but no uranium. So I'm not going to plan on getting lucky and finding surface uranium, and just I'll focus on getting the deep mine drill up and then testing as many drill sites as I can. It's labor intensive and it might take me a while, but it is a surefire plan that isn't likely to fail. And check back on my people here. Taffy is hauling the remainder of this siege back, so I don't think I have to worry too much about that. I'm going to push NG a little bit here, try to get some things set up and built. Being warm and in a proper bed would go a long way. And they're already dropping escape pod people to me here. Yeah, that's not something I think I'm going to be taking part in. They will have to find their own way back. So, at least for the meantime, I will assign this back to Taffy. It's closer and more central. And this one will... This is a barracks, so it'll keep Taffy happier. And she is knocked out from a long day of working. So I have to keep an eye on Doc's mood. She's just queued up to be in the house. I think I can have her slag processing, but I'll have to keep an eye on her mood closely here. I don't want her snapping. We are many years into this colony here. So 60 days is 1 year, so we're almost 4 years in, which is just ridiculous, really. I mean, that's a pretty long time to be out on sea ice. Alright, so I'm going to wake her up and have her get back to work, microing her a bit more than I usually do. So, I'm going to have her consume food and haul wood back. So I do have some, I mean, this is probably an ancient danger here, but I do have some. There we go. This should get things nice and warm here. Maybe too warm. That might be the problem. We will see. Maybe not. Wow. That's quite a lot of mega sloth wool there. So it's warming up past the ambient temperature. It's not toasty, but it is warming up. Doc's mood here could be a little better, but it's not quite as bad. But what I can do is I'll have her strip. That will keep her happy. She's also wearing a dead man vest, so that doesn't help. Alright, let's get NG a bed, a very basic bed here. And she will be hauling the remainder of the food. I don't think there isn't a really high likelihood that there will be animals here. But if there are, I don't want them eating the food. So all this rice will be done growing, which is good, because they do have food here, but it's somewhat limited. I could haul the rest of these survival meals back. That wouldn't hurt. And NG is now asleep. Her mood is holding pretty steady. So it's not super warm in here, but it is certainly better than the ambient. Now, I believe I intended to load. That's interesting. Maybe somewhat of a bug. So I loaded 20. Are they in here? No. I loaded 20 components in to the transport pod, which never arrived at the destination. I had 27. I only have 7 here now. I loaded them in, but as far as I can tell, they never got here. They got lost in transit, which sucks. It means I have to spend a bit more time mining compacted machinery and hauling it back to the base, and that was time that I could be better spent setting up my ground radar. Because eventually I'll need ground penetrating radar, which takes a lot of power, and then there's no permanent food here, so I can't be here for too long. So the longer I have to take to be here, I can always transport pod more meals in, but you know, that's That's unfortunate. I mean, I might have made a mistake here, but I'm pretty sure I loaded those components in, as they're no longer in the base anywhere to be seen. Which means they did just get lost. They just were destroyed or something. I'm not certain how to describe it other than that. So, instead of hauling this Megasloth wool, I'm immediately going to try to get the geothermal going, which means I need steel. Alright, she's not assigned to mining, because I've never had anything to mine before. Mining is a foreign concept to her, so she's not great at it. Taffy's better, but I don't think this little outpost can support 2 people quite yet. They're doing quite fine up there. No threats so far. Looking at my wealth, my building wealth is of course gone pretty high up, but my item wealth has plummeted. Certainly a lot of stone here. So let's haul some of this back. Slowly get enough for a geothermal generator. That will be, I think, my best source of power. So now this bedroom is a little bit nicer. Slightly impressive due to the additional table and chairs and things. So that will keep her nice and happy. Doc here doesn't have much to do. She's trying to do some growing, I suppose. She's not nearly as good at it as Engie was. But I'm going to have her move her shirt and her parka so that they're not covering the slag zone. Alright, there we go. So now I'll properly haul slag to where it belongs. Now I could make a steel hand tailor here and tailor myself a Megasloth wool parka, which actually wouldn't be a terrible idea, but it would take a considerable amount of time. Time that could be better spent. So I need 400 steel for this. I've got about 200 now. So there's a lot more mining I need to get done. Of course, this base here, let's see. I could build another transport pod here and send a little care package off to Engie. I need to keep... I don't really... I mean, I care about what they're doing here, but they're sort of keeping the show on the road and keeping it running. I care way more about Engie's progress here, so I'm trying to keep her on task and not relaxing socially and things. I'll only do that if it's really truly required, which it isn't right now. Her joy is getting low though, so I gotta consider that. Being chased by pirates? Nope. I am not in any position to help anyone. You guys know this as well as I. Alright, once she mines this, I'll let her Urania. That will be the name of this place. Alright. I'll let her go relax a little. So her joy is back up. Put her back to work. I don't have the luxury of downtime. I'm already 6 meals down. And without all those components that I'm sure I sent. So there's a lot more work to be done. This, I believe, will almost get me enough steel for this construction. So she's since started the construction project of the geothermal generator. I just have a little bit more steel over here to haul back. But I'm going to have her haul an entire armload rather than just the... Okay, well, she has other plans. I'll forbid it. I'll keep her on task. I want to haul 75 out of here. Travel time is something to keep in mind. Trying to keep the amount of time they spend traveling to and fro is pretty important. She really wants to rest, but she's not in a critical mood here, so I'm just going to keep chipping away here, and now I can let her sleep. So they're doing a pretty good job. They're actually producing a considerable amount of rice, considering Doc is on pseudo house arrest. But even given that, I'm going to queue Taffy up to haul in some of these extra meals, because there's no point in not using them. Taffy's been really busy just hauling slag around, but I do have like weapons out here and things like that. Doc doesn't even have a task, but that keeps her nice and happy. What I think I'm going to do, because she has a tolerance of smoke leaf. She's not dependent on it yet. I'm going to forbid that for now at least. Oh, well, that's welcome. Whole lot of steel and a cargo drop. And hauling that will definitely take less time than having to produce it locally. I believe that no one is set to construct. Oh no, I do have some constructors here. So maybe Taffy, I'll have you work on this transport pod. And hope that you don't fail. Alright, so I'll dig at the steel here for just one more arm load. Taffy I will send back out for these meals. They're keeping my people fed. Doc pretty much did nothing but wandering around in the base today, and that's all she really accomplished. But hey, she's happy, and she's a much needed defender. So I'll just disallow this piece of steel. And instead of hauling that steel out there, let's get some compacted machinery here. Maybe there is a built-in potential fail for transport pods. Now, I didn't think there was. I didn't remember reading anything about that, but maybe there is a potential for failure that I didn't know about, which would explain what happened to my stuff. I'm still somewhat hoping that I find surface uranium, but so far my search has yielded none. So I need 8 components for this and 12 for that, so 20 total, which would have been all the components I had transported here, but those components have disappeared. It's a real bummer. Maybe, I haven't looked, but maybe there's actually some ship pieces around here. Because I've been looking for uranium, focusing solely on finding uranium, but no, I don't believe that I am that lucky. Wow, this would have been a really good spot to build, as they'd have to cross a shallow lake to assault my colony. Alright, haul that stuff back. It is slow going, and I am a little worried about food here. But Doc's doing a pretty good job of building up a rice stockpile, so I could always send simple meals back over. So that will be the 8th one I need for this steam geyser, this geothermal generator. Of course, that doesn't give me batteries or anything like that, or any other further constructions. It's just the generator, and I don't have anything that even uses the power quite yet, so the generator doesn't serve an immediate purpose. Come on, get back to it. Alright, I'll haul the rest. And allow the generator. Now my worry here is that the only uranium I find is really far from where I'm generating power, which means I have to run a very long line to obtain it. I just had a bulk goods come and visit, which is great. That is very exciting. That will allow me to buy 17 components. What else can I buy here? Can't buy uranium. I could buy more wood. I don't think I need any more wood. There's no uranium furniture that I can buy. I'm going to sell off the remainder of my gold. I'm actually going to buy a bunch of nutrient paste meals. They're not that cheap. Look at that. All their meat is the same price. I could buy a whole lot of meat. I do have a lot of silver here, so I don't need to be stingy. Could buy steel. Just trying to think it over first. So I think what I'm going to do, just to keep everything, the show on the road, I'll buy maybe 200 meat from them. Meat, of course, isn't worth very much to monetary value, but it is worth a lot to my survivors. If I was to send a care package, I'm tempted to attempt to send more components to get things going quicker, but I think I'm going to wait until I have a food shortage here, if I do have a food shortage here, which is likely. Now, one thing I could do is I think I'm going to have taffy cooking, because they have to stand out in the cold. Wow, 10 degrees. That's actually... It's pretty... Oh, it's because in the middle of the summer. It's pretty warm here, I just noticed. Now she's back at machinery. While everyone else is asleep. She is getting a little bit better at mining. Still a beginner, but she, I think, started at 0, which is just unbelievably low. Cargo pallets out on the ice sheet of elephant skin. Well, I can haul that in. Plus, that slag is closer to my base than slag in the past, and mechanoids arriving at the ice sheet, attacking immediately. So I'm going to slow time down a little bit. get my charge rifles here. Take a deep breath. Oh, I think I'm wearing the one I want to wear. I think this one is bad. What are you wearing? You wear this one. Getting the charge rifles going. Standing slightly out of view. Do have a little bit of time for that Scyther to get there, so I can check back on NG, who is just mining away. Her needs are okay. She's going to be a little hungry soon, but man, this is stressful for me. Heart up, a little racing. So you are going to attack that. Get my turrets online. I don't even think I'm going to risk... I unfortunately left the helmet there. I'm not even going to risk, really, getting my people to do much of the shooting. If I can help it. Now, these are both Inferno cannons, so I need to grab sniper rifles at this point. So let's turn off the turrets. Grab some sniper rifles. And do that kiting dance that everyone has seen time and time again, of making sure that nothing gets too close to my base here. I'm having NG haul back both. That's good. Actually going to send Doc off to make sure I grab the other mechanoid. I've got 14 components, which is enough, so NG is hauling the steel out. Trying to get this mechanoid's attention, but Doc deciding not to actually make contact with her gun. There we go. I got his attention, or its attention. This mechanoid here, this caterpillar, is going down pretty quick. And I've been doing a pretty good job of kiting them where I haven't gotten shot yet by the incendiaries. So I'm gonna have both my people focus on that one there. Try to get that one out of commission quickly. But now I want to retreat to max range again. Give me a nice cushion of not getting burned by Inferno cannons. Alright, so the first one's down. Gonna retreat a bit. And they're both down. Alright, so I can add bills to shut them down, and I think I'm gonna queue up my people to shut them down now. I'll queue Taffy up for that. NG's sleeping, but much deserved. My other two colonists victorious in their attempts to quell the Scyther raid. Not much worry there. I was worried, I won't lie, but they handled it like pros. actually going to place that not in the bedroom. It's ugly. There we go. So NG here. Another day out here in the corner of nowhere to haul more steel over to the stockpile. So there's about one more trip left. I'm not going to have her grab the remnants of the 87, you know, the 12 that I can't carry. That's not worth the trip. Still doesn't get me in range of being able to build this, which means, of course, back to mining. I could send a care drop, but that is a pretty high price of resources to send, because the pod costs stuff and then the fuel costs stuff. I'm going to try to minimize the amount of pods that I use. So let's forbid that. I haven't really checked if there's any other resources scattered around this map, but I don't think when you first settle anything that there are. I think it's not really coded to do that. So Doc has nothing left to do, which is good on her mood, I suppose. Taffy is just as happy as can be. What I will do is allow Doc out to here so that she can break down those mechanoids. I don't think brief jaunts out into the cold is gonna kill her. But one thing I probably should do is create a new outfit, nudist, which disallows everything but a toque. That way she won't constantly be picking gear up. But I want her to be... Well, she's not assigned to smithing. Yes, that's right. So she's a little hypothermic now. But I believe she should be going back inside for the time being. I'm going to keep her inside for a while. Doc here, I should keep a closer eye on. She wants to sleep, but I'm going to have her mine a little bit more. Sending NG back out. Oh, I have to assign the nudist outfit. So as you all may have noticed, I received less enemies, less mechanoids than before. Normally I would have received a greater number, but due to the decreasing wealth of this colony, I got less of them, which is great. Or fewer, not less, but fewer of them, which is great. Certainly have a lot of steel here. Taffy, sorry to say, but I know you just went to sleep, but yeah, let's get that fixed. And you failed at fixing it. And there's a solar flare in the other zone, which really doesn't bother me any. Don't really have any use for power at the moment. There. So now Taffy's asleep. Seems trivial, but keep that room a little nicer. Now I can build the ground penetrating radar. Guess I don't need that. So there is a patch of stuff right at my base. But, you know, of course, if I picked this area, there'd be a greater likelihood of finding uranium. But there's stuff, which is good. Now I need a deep drill. And I believe, I might be incorrect, but I believe that this whole patch will be the same metal, that it doesn't differentiate that much, the zones, which is unfortunate. I mean, it would be really helpful if it did. Haul some of that steel back. Now, to really make this bedroom nicer, what I could do here, and I will do here, is a little construction project where I put my stockpile over here and keep things separated. I will need a vent, which I'll build now. And that way this room is this room doesn't have all the raw materials in it. I did just get cargo pods, but I got cargo pods in the other zone of a lot of marble blocks, which is great. These marble blocks will be helpful for sure. Now I can clean up a little bit and tidy up the zone. Come on. I guess I might need to claim this area. Yeah. Still can't clean. Try and clean this dirt. Oh, there we go. Got it eventually. So now this bedroom is pretty. You know, it's more beautiful, which will help with mood. And I still need some more compacted. I need some more components, so which means I need to mine some more compacted machinery. I'm trying to figure out what is closest to Henji, but I could just send a care package, which I think is what I will do. There's a volcanic winter in my ice sheet. All right, that's only going to make things colder here, but I think I can handle it. Been handling it for 4 years now. I think I can handle a little bit more cold. My intrepid explorers won't have much of a problem. Now, another source of uranium, not a really viable one, but is to just break into those ancient dangers and use the cryosleep uranium. But that's way more danger than it's worth. If you were in absolute need of some uranium for whatever reason, that's an option, but a bad one. A very bad one. I want to warn everyone. I was not truly considering doing that. So I think, how many meals do I have? 25? I might send a care package. I'll consider it. But she's actually doing okay here. So this draws not the full power of my geothermal generator. Plus I don't need it on all the time, now that I know where the underground minerals are, I can shut it off. And these components will allow me to get my first drill. The likelihood of me striking uranium on first try is very, very low. But that doesn't mean I can't hope, right? I can hope for uranium first try. I'm still hoping to find uranium on the surface here, but I've done a fair bit of looking, and I haven't found it so far, so I'm not going to hold my breath. And I think I'm just about done with my hour here. Been a pretty productive hour, but I will construct this just to see what this has in store for me, and then call this a wonderful additional episode. I'm glad the volcanic winter hit in the middle of summer. That does help, that zone. Although I would have possibly been setting... Yep, just steel. Possibly been setting temperature records had it been deep winter, which is fun in its own way. I guess I have just enough materials to try one more time before I end this episode. So let's try this spot here. This spot might yield me what I'm looking for. This is somewhat of a trial and error, of course. There's no way to tell what is under there until I set up a drill. You know, it's not like it's telling me here. Plasteel, nice, but still not what I'm looking for. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you have any feedback or questions or comments, drop me a line. I attempt to answer all of them. And I hope you tune in next time. So thank you for watching. This has been Rhadamant. It's been my pleasure bringing this episode to you. Adios.